Why am I here? Not just here in this house or this city or this moment, but here in this life. If I'm honest, I don't know. And maybe that's the point. We keep trying to wrestle meaning from the silence of the universe, but maybe the meaning is not something we find. Maybe it's something we create, not all at once, but in quiet moments of joy, in pain, in connection. Dr. Viktor Frankl, Holocaust survivor and author of Man's Search for Meaning, once said, "Life is never made unbearable by circumstances, but only by lack of meaning and purpose." Sometimes I think, maybe I'm here to spread joy, to light one small candle in someone else's darkness. And that feels like enough, because I've seen for a fleeting moment the glory of simply being alive. That's a truth I want to share, not by preaching, not by persuading, but by living, by becoming someone who reminds others of their own brilliance, their own forgotten light. It makes me emotional to even speak of it, because there's this voice inside that whispers, "Who do you think you are?" I am no one special, but I have tasted the sweetness of life. And once you've tasted it, you want everyone else to know that flavor, the flavor of aliveness, of belonging, of wonder. I recently moved into a new house. The boxes are still stacked, the corners still unfamiliar. And as I was unpacking, I realized something. We carry so much, not just objects, but meanings. A sister helping pack up my things asked, "Why do you keep all this? What does it mean?" At first, I laughed, but later I thought, maybe the things themselves don't matter, but the stories they hold? Doctor, a worn-out teddy bear, a chipped mug, a faded photo, take Tigger and Pooh Bear. They were given to me by a friend. We've since grown apart. The connection is frayed. But these toys, they're still alive with memory, with love, with the echo of a time when we mattered to each other. Objects can become sacred, not because they're valuable, but because they remind us who we were when someone saw us with kindness. And maybe that's the truth. It's not the stuff that defines us. It's not even the story. It's the love behind the story. And love has a way of lingering, even after people are gone. As psychoanalyst Carl Jung once wrote, "The greatest tragedy of the family is the unlived lives of the parents." Maybe our boxes are full of unlived lives, frozen memories, silent reminders to keep living. To be human is to carry contradiction, joy and sorrow, grace and mess, light and shadow. And yet, isn't that the miracle? We have so much. Language, touch, imagination, memory, so much to feel with, so much to break with, so much to become with. Pain is not a mistake, it's part of the design. We weren't built to glide through life untouched. We were built to break open, to feel it all, to rise, to fall, to remember joy in the middle of grief. As Buddhist teacher Pema Chodron reminds us, only to the extent that we expose ourselves to annihilation can that which is indestructible be found in us. There's wisdom in that paradox, that sometimes in the deepest pain, we discover our deepest truth. There have been seasons in my life where joy felt like a rumor, where pain was the only language I could speak, dragging myself through the days, parenting while empty, smiling while cracked. But I kept going, not because I was brave, but because I had to. I was a parent, and when you're a parent, you dust yourself off. Not for yourself, but for the child who watches you, who learns from how you rise, even when you're breaking. But there was more. I kept going for someone else too. The little me inside, the child who never had someone say, "It's okay, I see you, you matter." We carry our inner child through this life. And sometimes the healing isn't about becoming someone new. It's about finally becoming someone safe. One life. That's what we get. And there's too much to taste, too much to celebrate, too much to become. to spend it hiding from our pain. Sometimes we wake up and wonder, am I doing this right? This whole life thing, the job, the relationships, the parenting, the healing, the growing, the letting go. And most of us are just improvising, faking confidence, wearing masks, trying not to collapse under the weight of expectations. We scroll through perfect photos. We compare our behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. And in doing so, we start believing the lie that we're falling behind, that everyone else has a blueprint, that they've figured it out. But here's a quiet truth. No one really knows what they're doing. We're all just making meaning as we go. And that's okay, because the goal was never perfection. The goal was presence. And presence doesn't demand that we're healed, only that we're here. The spiritual teacher Ram Dass once said, "We're all just walking each other home." It's not just about death. It's about the love that didn't get to finish its sentence, the laughter that never got to echo again, the apology that stayed unspoken. Grief is the echo of connection, still ringing long after the moment has passed, and sometimes it sneaks in on a sunny day in the middle of joy. And suddenly you're crying, not because life is bad, but because it's so achingly beautiful, and someone you love isn't here to see it. We often think grief is a sign that something is broken, but what if it's not? What if grief is proof that we were once deeply alive with someone else, that we dared to love even knowing it could end? Maybe grief doesn't leave. Maybe we just learn to carry it with grace. Sometimes when you feel off, you try to explain it with logic. I slept okay. Work's going fine. Nothing's really wrong. And yet, something feels heavy, because what you're feeling isn't always from today. Your body remembers the time you didn't feel safe, the way someone spoke to you in anger, the moment you froze and couldn't protect yourself. The body carries stories the mind has long forgotten, but the nervous system doesn't forget. And so healing isn't just about talking. It's about reteaching the body that it's safe again. Sometimes healing means resting. Sometimes it means crying without explanation. Sometimes it means holding yourself the way you wished someone had held you back then. We live in a culture that rewards hustle and punishes softness. You feel tired, push through. You feel sad, distract yourself. You feel joy, be careful. It might not last. But what if we gave ourselves permission to feel, to grieve when something ends, to celebrate when something begins, to feel pride, not guilt, to feel peace without apology? There's a version of you buried under years of survival mode who just wants to be real, not perfect, not impressive, just real. That version is still in you, waiting. Maybe we think joy has to be earned, that we need a big achievement or a perfect moment. But joy doesn't wait for perfection. It's hiding in ordinary things. The warmth of a mug in your hand, a laugh that bubbles up from your chest, a child's eyes wide with wonder. Sometimes joy looks like nothing, just you, breathing deeply with the sunlight on your face and no crisis to manage. And in that moment, you feel it, the hum of life, the quiet grace of stillness, the permission to simply be. We spend so much time chasing happiness, we forget we're standing in joy already. At the end of it all, the boxes, the healing, the grief, the laughter, we're left with a simple truth. You are enough. You have always been. Not because you did everything right. Not because you never broke, but because you lived with heart. You tried. You loved. You showed up, even when it was hard. Pain is not a punishment. Joy is not a reward. They are both part of the invitation, the human invitation, to feel everything, to make meaning, to connect, to rise. So if today you're hurting, don't panic. You're not broken. You're not failing. You are simply human. And that's not something to escape. It's something to celebrate. Because if pain is the price of being human, then so is joy. And both are worth it.